Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So, as you know, I've injured myself and I can't be doing too much exercise because, yeah, I'm going to get all sweaty and then I've got to try and organize washing of this boot that I'm wearing now and previously the cast. So, what I want to do is do probably a weekly update of my recovery of this. I know there's quite a few people out there that have a similar injury or tendon injuries, and we can share experiences and things like that, and things that work for me that help me get through it. And it might be different for you, so everyone's different. I just want to share the things that I'm trying, that I'm experiencing, and maybe some of you can relate to it, and maybe you can take away some of these things and try them yourselves. But I'm no doctor, I'm not a physician of any type, so don't take what I say to heart, and this is the way things should be done. This is just my experiences, so listen to your doctors and things like that, and follow their recovery plans. But I just wanted to share what happened with me, how I'm doing, how I'm recovering, and it will probably be a weekly update if I can get them in. So let's get to it. I've made a few notes on what I want to talk about. So week 1, basically, I ruptured my Achilles tendon in my right ankle. Now, they call it a rupture when there's a tear in the tendon. So when it's a full tear, it's ruptured. And basically, the Achilles, if you don't know what the Achilles is, it's the tendon that joins from your heel to your calf muscles. And it's the strongest tendon in your body. And it can withstand up to 900 kilograms of weight before it snaps. So you can imagine with my physique and my weight, that's quite a bit of weight to snap a tendon. But when your body's not aware of what's happening and it's a shock, you can put tremendous weight on tendons and they just go. And I went to the chiro for my neck after I was injured, and she was saying, they get a lot of people coming in that say, oh, I just bent over and my back went, or I was just reaching for something and my neck went. And it's always these simple little things. And like my Achilles that got torn, basically all I did was turn to get the ball in football and I slipped and it just went. So it's these silly little things that you think, oh, I just did that. But, you've been running, you've been training at gym, you've been doing exercise, you've been doing all these things that you would think would injure, a tendon or a muscle or whatever. But leading up to that injury, your body is probably telling you things on the way which you are ignoring, like, oh, my calves are hurting or they're really tight. And I was experiencing that weeks before I got injured. So, yes, I didn't stretch as well as I should have, but, this is days and weeks of buildup of pain or something that's going on. And you just take it as, well, I've overworked the muscle, or I've just done something for too long, or I'm just a bit stiff. And these little things build up until there's a point where it just gives up and it goes. And that's when you bend over and pick something up and you hurt your back or you hurt your neck or you twist or whatever that might be. And I slipped and I tore my Achilles. So what exactly happened to me was I was playing football. It was right at the end of the game, and we were playing on a hard surface on an indoor court, not AstroTurf or anything. It's like lino flooring. And the ball came rolling to me right at the end, and I took a turn, and I just felt this really hard kick in the back of my heel, as if someone came and just kicked me really hard. And a lot of people that have Achilles tears say that someone's kicked them in the back, or some of them say it feels like a gunshot, but I don't know. I've never been shot, so I wouldn't know what that feels like. But if you imagine someone kicking you really hard in your heel, that's what it felt like. And I really thought the guy tackled me from behind, and I fell to the floor, and I was just so angry with myself and with him. And I'm just shouting and going, I can't believe you tackled me like that. And you weren't even near the ball. And I'm shouting, and I took my bib off and I threw it. And I was really angry because I knew the injury was a bad one. I just felt that I'm not coming back anytime soon. And it just frustrates me because I know how long injuries take. And you know me, I'm always injured. So I should just call this channel the Injury Dad. So yeah, I was just going on and shouting, and all the guys came over to help me. They ended the game. It was, like I said, it was right at the end, and they were looking at me and going, "Well, what are you talking about? Who are you shouting at?" And I said, "No, it's that guy that kicked me in that, because he always injures everyone." And they just sort of looked at me and said, "But no one was near you." And I just couldn't comprehend that, because it really felt like someone kicked me in the back of my leg, on my heel. Anyway, I apologized to him. I just said, "Look, I didn't know, it just felt like you kicked me." And they were all understanding in that. And basically, the feeling I had after that was that feeling you get just before you're about to get pins and needles from sitting on your arm too long, or your legs in a certain position for too long. And that's what my foot felt like. It just felt like my foot wasn't there for a bit, and then it started to tingle, and I just knew something wasn't right. So I managed to get back onto my feet, and trying to walk was really strange because my foot wasn't there. And as I went forward, take that step, and then your leg follows to go over, I just sort of felt like I was falling forward, because it was like I was walking on a stump, and there was just, my foot didn't seem to be there, because there's no attachment on my calf to stop me from that forward movement and the tension to then push off. So I had to walk sideways, sort of like a zombie kind of thing. Got my stuff, managed to walk to the car, and I managed to drive home. And that wasn't pleasant, because I couldn't really feel my foot. The braking was really harsh. I was accelerating a bit quicker than I should have. It was dangerous, yes, but I guess the adrenaline just took over. I got home, got inside, and I just started icing it straight away, and it just didn't feel right. I managed to get into the shower and, wash and everything, and went to bed. Didn't take any painkillers. And the next morning I got up, I put a strap on it. Next morning I got up and I thought, no, this isn't right. So I went off to the A&E. I got there. They booked me in. They had a check. The initial check says it looks like it's a ruptured Achilles, because they do the Thompson check. Basically, you kneel on a chair facing backwards so that you are in an L shape and your feet are hanging off the chair. And what they do is they squeeze your calf muscle with your foot hanging off. So this would be your calf. This is your shin on the chair, and your foot's hanging off. And they squeeze it. And basically, when they squeeze it, your foot would contract like that. And mine did nothing. When they squeezed it like that, it did absolutely nothing. So that suggests there's a tear in the Achilles by the heel, and it's not flexing like it should. So I went off for x-rays. They took the x-rays. They did that. I waited for the doctors. I went through, and I said to them, what did you find? And he says, no, there's a full tear. There's no need for an ultrasound, because they usually do ultrasounds to see how bad the tear is. But he says you could see it on the x-ray. It's pretty bad. He mentioned a 5-centimeter gap, so I'm assuming that was quite bad. And then he spoke to me about the options, where you can have conservative care or treatment, or you can go the surgery route. And they prefer the conservative route now, because they do say that surgery, there's a lot of sort of horror stories with infections, and because the tendon is so close to the skin at the back of your Achilles there's not much blood flow, and tendons are not like muscles that get a lot of blood flow to heal. So tendons take really long to heal because there's not a lot of blood, and being in that part of the area of the foot and that, there's not a great circulation in that. So, there's risk of infection. There's, the heel might not work as well as before. The tendon will join. Yes, it will join because it's been, stitched together. But, you can still have re-ruptures. You still have all the risks that you would have on a conservative care. Now, conservative care or healing is basically just letting it heal naturally by no operation or anything like that, and just, putting the foot in a cast straight away, which they did to me. And what they do is they make you put your foot in a plantar flexion angle. So basically you're pointing, you don't have to force your toes down. You should just let your foot hang off the edge of it when you're sitting on the bed, and your toes should point down, and they'll just point it a little bit more down, as if you're pointing with your toes like that. And then so the tendon at the back would have less space to join again, rather than flexing it and going past horizontal, or, if you pull your toes up towards your knee, you don't want that to be stretched and the gap to be too big, because then the tendons won't join. So, he started putting the cast on. He put my foot down in that plantar flexion sort of pose, so it looked like I was sort of pointing my toe down a bit. And then he explained, what not to do and what to do. So I got crutches, which I had to use because I couldn't put my foot down at all, because the foot's at that angle. As soon as you try and put any pressure, even on your toes, it just seemed to shoot straight into that area by where I tore it. So I couldn't put any weight on it. He said I mustn't get the cast wet, so showering and things like that were out of the question unless you get one of those foot bags. You can get those. But yeah, so it was quite depressing and demotivating to see what the injury was and how long it can take, because he said that you should be in the cast for 2 weeks. We'll move you into a boot for probably 10 to 12 weeks, and after that you go to physio and rehab and things like that to try and strengthen the tendon again. And he says you should be back to normal walking in 6 months. Now, provided the tendon does heal properly, then that's the time frame I'm looking at. So it's not great. I would have rather broken my bone, because then that would just heal up. But tendons, I've had so many ankle injuries and tendon injuries in my life. I still have issues with a lot of them that were from 15 years plus ago. So yeah, it's quite devastating. I was really depressed and down. But yeah, that was the injury. That was my A&E. That's how it happened, and that's my first week's update for you guys. So I will make another one for you for week 2. I'm gonna try and share all my experiences with you guys, so and hopefully someone out there that's looking for anything, this might help them get through it and see what to expect and what's coming up if you guys are unfortunate enough to have a ruptured Achilles. So yeah, so that's my sort of lengthy talk on week 1, and I hope you're all keeping well, and I will see you for my next update. Cheers.